How's it going, everybody? Welcome to General Hospital MV, my GH after show. Let's get into the fact that Luke Spencer is dead. What? I mean, damn, I knew a new year was gonna bring new surprises, but this is not one I seen coming at all. Let's get into how this turn of events happened, you know, besides happening off screen. So the week started with a continuation of New Year's Eve. It turns out that Laura, Kevin, Felicia, and Mac are all night owls because they showed up at the Savoy after midnight. Laura and Kevin were apparently bar hopping. I'm not sure what Mac and Felicia were up to. I'm assuming it had to do with not being able to find Felicia for a year, though. Took him a while to find her. Now, not long after Laura and Kevin got to the Savoy, they decided to go home and have a little indoor New Year's fun. But before they could even get up to the bedroom, there's a knock on the door, and lo and behold, it's Tracy freaking Quartermain, a return even I didn't see coming, and she broke the news that Luke Spencer was dead. Now, supposedly Luke was killed in a cable car accident in Austria, and we were told initially that it was a freak accident. My first thought, honestly, was why is this show killing Luke Spencer? I mean, Tony Geary is still alive, and we know that wild horses couldn't bring him back to the show, so a fake out death would be kind of lackluster without him coming back. So why kill him off? Also, his kids aren't even there on the show to mourn him either. I mean, yes, he does have friends and family there. Felicia and Robert and Anna were all told. Bobby was absolutely devastated. I loved her performance. Jackie Zeman killed it in those scenes. Now Bobby, she thinks that Luke's death was no accident, and we learn eventually that she was bang on the truth with that. I'll give you one guess who it was. Yup, Victor Cassadine. I've said it before on here, but I find it absolutely jarring that the show is really trying to sell Victor Cassadine as this big, bad arch nemesis of the Spencer family. It doesn't make sense. It's not what we've seen on screen ever until just now. Victor couldn't have cared less about the Spencers the last time he was on the show. This show's also painting him out to be like this cold-blooded murderer. Like, legitimately, he spent the entire week in his family members' ears trying to convince them to let him kill people for them. Like, seriously. Sean had written an article in The Invader about Nicholas Cassadine and Cassadine Industries, and Victor was like, you know, I could have him dealt with for you, Nicholas. And then when he sees that Valentine is hurting over Brooklyn's lie, he's like, you know, Valentine, we could take care of Brooklyn together my way. Like, what the hell are they doing to Victor? This is so stupid. You know what, though? Between Nicholas and Valentine, I honestly feel like Valentine is petty enough to actually go along with Victor's plan, whatever it may be. Although, earlier in the week, Laura did mention to Kevin before they left the Savoy that she wants to have a talk with Valentine and maybe get him to warm up to him a little bit to get some answers out of him. So maybe that happened off screen, and maybe that's why he seemed a little more down to do Victor's plan. I guess we'll find out sooner or later. Now back to Luke for a second. Do I think Luke Spencer is dead? Hell no. Honestly, he's probably locked up with Holly wherever she is. But the fact that Tony Geary isn't going to come back to the show is making his fake death lackluster to me. It has me rolling my eyes hard. The only good thing about Luke's death is that it brought Tracy back into the fold. But we know two things. Number one, that Tracy was aware that Brooklyn was looking for a baby to pass off as Valentine's kid. So when she saw the baby, of course she naturally wondered where Brooklyn got the baby from, and it didn't take her long at all, because she's Tracy, to figure out that it was Maxie's kid. Not that she had a chance to tell anybody, because number two, the last time Tracy was in town, she tried to frame Alexis to make it look like she drove drunk just to get her away from Ned, and naturally when she was roaming around town, she bumps into Alexis and Sam called Dante to arrest Tracy. Now, I was reading some of the message boards, and it looked like people were genuinely shocked that Alexis and Sam had Tracy arrested. I'm like, hello, of course they did. What did you think they were gonna do? Throw their hands up just because Luke died? No, of course not. The only surprising thing to me was Alexis's practically non-reaction to Luke dying. Alright, now let's talk about Peter. Now, he woke up from his coma because of course he did, and I'm pissed off not just because he woke up, but because this show is already clearly crafting a way for him to get away with murdering Franco. Peter hires Martin as his lawyer, and for some reason Martin accepts and says that he thinks that there is a way to poke holes in the case against him when it comes to Franco. Martin's justification for working for Peter is that he is simply a client and he needs a paycheck. Damn, just when I was starting to like you, Martin. Now, the only good thing about Peter being awake is that he and Britt had an epic confrontation. She practically had him wetting the hospital bed. I was living for it. He tries to accuse her of being the one that poisoned him, and she's like, if I tried to poison you, I would have gotten the dosage right. And she was getting into his head too. I mean, she was mentioning that the baby could be dead, that Maxie doesn't want anything to do with him, and he was twitching. I loved it. Well done, Britta. Now, what else is there to talk about this week? Oh yeah, Sunny and Carly. Now, amazingly, Nina driving Sunny back to his old penthouse didn't result in them sleeping together. Thank God, but I swear, if Carly keeps pushing Sunny away, she's gonna push him into Nina's arms and into a bed. I like that Olivia showed up to play devil's advocate a little bit for Carly because she mentioned, you know, her having feelings for Jason when they were getting married and how those feelings probably didn't go away once Sunny came back. Olivia's nice way to be like, Carly, you're being a bit of a hypocrite. Not that it helped. Sunny showed up to try to fight for his marriage, which, you know, good for him. He didn't want to leave until things were resolved because, of course, it's his house anyway. And, you know, Carly asks him the tough questions and it's like pulling teeth from a child just to drag any answer out of him. You know, he had to admit that he had feelings for Nina and that he kissed Nina, which obviously pissed Carly off, but, you know, it's like, Sunny's just being honest. He's like, yes, I have feelings for her. You know, I'm like two different people right now. I'm Mike and I'm Sunny, and Mike fell in love with Nina, but now I'm back to being Sunny, but those feelings don't go away. It's like I'm two people. Like, clearly he's wanting to be back with Carly. He doesn't want to like Nina. He hates what she did to him, obviously. And you know who else hates it? Phyllis hates it. She called Nina out this week and I was living for it. She's like, you know what? Sunny may have said that he's not your victim, but he was your victim, Nina. I mean, you violated him, kept him away from his family without his knowledge. Because Nina was there being hopeful, like, you know, if Sunny and Carly break up, maybe me and Mike or Sunny have a chance. I mean, she had this bit of hope because Ava was in her ear earlier in the week and talking about, oh, well, if you guys get together, that could mean something great for me and Avery, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's Ava being Ava. But yeah, Phyllis was like, no, bad Nina. If they break up, you stay the hell away from him. Now, how is the rest of the Corinthos clan dealing with it? Not so great. I mean, Michael is still hell-bent on revenge against Nina, and Willow is not so hell-bent on revenge against Nina, even though she hates what Nina did. Harmony had stopped by to give Wiley a late Christmas present, and they were bonding a little bit, and she was listening to Willow and, you know, her take on the situation, and Michael comes in, and Harmony gives her 2 cents, and Michael's like, how is this any of your business? And you could just tell that Harmony is looking at Michael like, this dude doesn't seem to care what my daughter thinks. You know, honestly, if Harmony was brought on contract to get Willow away from Michael, then I'm down for this. I miss liking Willow. I don't like hating Willow, but he just makes me hate her. The person that she turns into around him is like, ugh. And like the old Willow is like slowly coming out, and Michael doesn't like it. And Harmony likes it, but Michael doesn't like it. And I like that Michael doesn't like it. They don't have to put Willow back with Chase, but if they could just get her out of Michael's orbit so that I can like the character again, then I'm down. Now, as for Jocelyn, of course she is mad at Sunny because, you know, that's her mom and he hurt her. And when Esme overhears them talking about Sunny and Carly being broken up, Esme's first thought is to be like, do we still have the cabin though? And I was like, girl, read the room. In all fairness, Esme was genuinely just focused on Spencer and having one last good day before he spends his 1 month in prison. And to Jocelyn's credit, she's like, you know what? No, you're right. Like, we want to give Spencer one last good day. He was really looking forward to this. I'll just bite the bullet and just ask Sunny about the cabin. I like these scenes because we actually got a little more insight on Esme as a person. We know that she is kind of the way she is because she doesn't have anybody. She latches on to Spencer a little bit. She didn't have, you know, good parents, like either her biological parents that gave her up or her adoptive parents. I'm a little concerned because, like, both sets of parents are dead, and I'm starting to wonder if she killed them. Like, I know there's a theory going around that she could be Ryan Chamberlain's daughter, but I honestly think that she's just a crazed fan of Ryan Chamberlain and just trying to emulate him. All right, moving on. We got to see the morning parents, Sasha and Brando, on screen again this week, and Sasha, I am worried about her. Like, she is not handling it well. She decides to go back to work to try and get a bit of a distraction from, obviously, mourning the loss of her baby, and she is just a mess. We see her in the bathroom and she's digging through her purse, and I was like, oh no, she's not grabbing for drugs. She was grabbing for lipstick, but she was shaking, but by the time that she left the bathroom, she was like, you know, up and good, and like, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if they have her back on drugs, because who could blame her? And we know that she mentioned her makeup artist, and the makeup artist was the one that brought the drugs initially in the first place. So I'm really worried that she's going back down that route. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Brando was also having a hard time. He went back to work as well, and I liked the scenes between Gladys and him this week. I like when they make Gladys look like a human. I mean, she's a bad person, but overall, she can be a decent mom when she knows that she needs to be. So those were all the major plot points of this week. Let's quickly touch base on some of the minor ones. We saw the morning after scenes between Portia and Curtis, and they admit that they're falling in love together. But again, we know it's all gonna go to hell when she admits that Trina is his daughter. Also, Sean hired Alexis to work at the Invader with him. Riveting stuff. Ooh, Spencer, when he's out of jail in a month from now, will have to work at the gallery with Ava, but have Trina supervise him, and neither of them were informed about that until they got to the Metro Court. Trina didn't take too kindly to that. And judging by the previews, Trina is starting to see the sinister side of Ava that everyone else mentions to her. Also, it seems like Brooklyn and Chase are starting to develop real feelings for each other. I don't know, do I like it? Kind of, I guess. Do you guys like it? Let me know in the comments. And finally, it seems that Finn and Elizabeth are getting ready to go on a real date, but it looks like Elizabeth may not be as over Franco as she's been letting on. At least that's how I think I'm supposed to take the scenes that happened on Friday, because the ring that she had put away in the drawer was suddenly in the hospital locker, and I couldn't tell if it just somehow ended up in there mysteriously or if she actually brought it with her to work. Because Elizabeth looked genuinely terrified, like she was shaking with the ring in her hand. But that could be because she's scared to move on from Franco. Or maybe Jake found it in the drawer and slipped it into her pocket and wants her to not forget about Franco. We haven't seen him lately, so he's probably on his last year of high school by now. Alright, but that's it for today's show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned this Wednesday for another live stream on Dion's Corner. We're going to be watching classic clips from GH and also just chit-chatting and hanging out and interacting, probably discussing what we've seen on GH so far during the week. I've really been enjoying interacting with you guys. It was a lot of fun last week. We were there for 3 hours live streaming. My God. But yeah, if you haven't joined us yet, join us on Wednesday. I don't know. I'll let you know what time I'm going to go live stream. I'm going to get better at kind of announcing when the live stream will start, because some people don't get notifications until after I'm already live, and I'm just awkwardly sitting there waiting for people. So I'll do a better job, I promise, okay? I'm still new at live streaming. But anyway, if you liked this video, give it a big old thumbs up, subscribe if you want to, and I will catch you guys this Wednesday. Peace out.